Hello and welcome to the Crossroads. Today's topic is marriage, which is written and read by Person Pekin. Many societies believe that a long-term relationship without traditional milestones, such as proposals or marriage, is wasted time, equating relational value with rituals and social validation. This view is challenged by asking whether ceremonies truly guarantee meaning, permanence, or worth, especially when friendships and other bonds thrive without formal markers. Rituals offer no real assurances, and their symbolic value weakens when they become routine or universally replicated. Genuine relationships grow organically through shared experience, trust, and authenticity, not through deadlines or societal expectations. When someone claims their time is being wasted due to the absence of a ritual, it often reflects pressure, insecurity, or entitlement rather than genuine connection. Pressure turns into expectation, expectation into demand, and demand into entitlement, which frequently mask deeper psychological needs for control or validation. Authentic unions evolve naturally, which, like friendships, without imposed timelines or ceremonial requirements. The notion of wasted time in brackets typically emerges when one partner attempts to manipulate the other into fulfilling a desired outcome. True value in a relationship comes from mutual growth, patience, and sincerity, not from rituals or conformity. If marriage is reduced to ritual, its meaning becomes superficial. If it is understood as a genuine bond between two people, then its worth cannot be measured by external markers. Time in a relationship is only wasted when judged by societal expectations rather than the lived experiences of love, growth, and companionship. To marry, to define marriage in its simplest form, is to join, to bind, or to merge. The union between two people who have chosen to marry can broadly be classified according to its underlying purpose: external goals or internal goals. In every union, one of these goals serves as the primary driving force. Now, under external goals, they tend to focus on outcomes outside the relationship, such as social status, wealth, family approval, physical attraction, or escaping personal circumstances. Because these aims depend on unstable, shifting conditions, unions built on them are fragile. When external benefits fade or better opportunities arise, the relationship often collapses. Such marriages lack resilience because they are rooted in circumstance rather than character, making them transactional and insecure. The other reason why people choose to marry is to achieve an internal goal, which in this case are quite rare, and those goals center on cultivating inner values such as patience, honesty, courage, integrity, loyalty, and similar traits. These unions thrive on complementarity rather than sameness, forming a partnership strengthened by the character each partner has forged through personal growth and challenge. Because internal values cannot be taken away by external change, these relationships remain stable, adaptable, and enduring. They weather difficulties with resilience, grounded in authenticity rather than circumstance. The difference between the internal goal and an external goal when the decision to marry is external goals create instability and dependence on shifting conditions. Internal goals, on the other hand, create depth, harmony, and long-term strength. A marriage built on internal values becomes a disciplined, character-driven partnership capable of withstanding life's changes. Ultimately, internal goals represent the highest form of union, transforming two individuals into resilient whole rooted in enduring values rather than temporary gains. There are several misconceptions about marriages, and I hope to shed light on a few of them. These misconceptions form the foundation upon which much of modern marriage is built, and they are a significant reason why so many unions collapse. The primary foundation required to sustain a marriage, internal values, is often missing. No matter how much we twist and turn, we cannot escape this fact. One of these misconceptions about a marriage is the illusion of trust. Many modern marriages are built on the false belief that they are grounded in trust, rather than cultivating genuine trust rooted in internal values. Contemporary relationships often depend on external symbols such as proposals, rings, ceremonies, and shared assets. As trust in words and personal integrity has eroded, couples increasingly depend on material demonstrations to validate sincerity. This shift reflects a broader cultural crisis in which authenticity must be proven rather than lived. Because partners fear that honesty might destabilize the relationship, many avoid expressing their true feelings, resulting in superficial stability that outsiders often see through more clearly than the couple themselves. Without the courage to rebuild trust in words, presence, and character, relationships remain performances designed to reassure society rather than genuine unions of two people. As long as marriages rely on appearances instead of truth, they will remain unstable, shallow, and vulnerable to collapse. Another misconception about marriage is the ceremony. The essence of marriage lies not in outward displays, but in the inward alignment of hearts. While society treats legal, religious, or traditional rituals as proof of commitment, these external displays do not create genuine connection. Ceremonies cannot produce affection, loyalty, or sincerity where they do not already exist. Many couples remain legally married while emotionally disconnected, showing that rituals cannot guarantee authenticity. The very need for external proof reveals a lack of trust and inner certainty. When two people share complementary values, their bond forms naturally and intuitively without the need for validation. Long-lasting friendships demonstrate this truth. In a friendship, they endure without ceremonies because they are built on mutual respect, trust, and authenticity. History also shows that rituals and contracts act only as deterrents, not guarantees. Marriages collapse when internal values such as honesty, loyalty, contentment, and genuine love are absent. Ceremonial marriages are especially vulnerable to deception, as individuals may hide ulterior motives behind the facade of ritual. Without inner maturity and intuitive discernment, people mistake outward appearances for genuine character. Intuition, unlike instinct, perceives truth beyond the five senses and must be cultivated through personal growth and strong values. The dominance of ceremonies in modern marriage reflects society's loss of inward discernment and over-reliance on external validation. Legal and religious rituals have become substitutes for genuine union, even though they cannot bind hearts. Marriage is not a performance, but a union that should be grounded in internal values. Without these, even the most elaborate ceremony is merely an illusion. Another misconception about marriage are the vows. In modern marriage, there is a belief in the permanence and reliability of vows. Vows assume that people will remain the same over time. Yet, change is the only constant in human life. As individuals evolve, shifting in values, desires, and direction, relationships naturally face divergence. When vows are present, this divergence becomes a source of guilt, suppression, or conflict because partners feel bound to outdated promises rather than present truth. Vows create unrealistic expectations by assuming the future will mirror the moment they were made. This binding can limit personal growth and force individuals to silence their inner evolution to preserve the union. Alternatively, it leads to separation when partners acknowledge that their paths no longer align. Those with greater maturity often avoid making vows altogether, recognizing that evolution cannot be predicted or controlled. Genuine union arises from ongoing alignment of values, not from ceremonial or verbal promises. Historically, trust was rooted in intuitive perception of another's authenticity, but modern society has lost this intuitive capacity, replacing it with external symbols like vows. These symbols become substitutes for genuine conviction and often mask insecurity or a lack of inner discernment. Because vows attempt to impose permanence on an ever-changing because I'll take that again. Because vows attempt to impose permanence on an ever-changing okay, that's an easy one for me to say. I'm going to try that one more time. Because vows attempt to impose permanence on an ever-changing reality. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll take that one more time. Because vows attempt to impose permanence on an ever-changing reality, they frequently lead to deception. When circumstances shift and vows can no longer be fulfilled, individuals may lie to maintain the illusion of commitment. This creates fear, resentment, and ultimately hostility. By contrast, unions without vows allow for honesty, freedom, and authentic expression, dissolving peacefully when alignment fades. Any restriction stifles growth in all areas of life. For instance, children under authority, citizens under rigid states, and employees under controlling employers, and partners bound by vows. Freedom, not restriction, nurtures maturity and genuine connection. The true nature of any union is evolution, not permanence. A vow attempts to freeze two evolving individuals in time, denying the inevitability of change. A union without vows embraces freedom, authenticity, and mutual growth, allowing both partners to evolve naturally without fear or constraint. Now, to summarize this essay on marriage, I'd like to highlight that marriage is a commitment to something great, larger than either partner. And it can only thrive when both individuals continue their own inner growth. When people neglect their personal development, the relationship becomes hollow and collapses under the weight of unfulfilled selves. True marriage requires a balance of closeness and freedom, which means each partner must let go in trust so both can expand into fuller versions of themselves. The union should be a space for inward advancement where personal evolution and the cultivation of deeper values take precedence over material or social goals. Many enter marriage not to grow but to hide from the demands of self-improvement, sacrificing their identity to fulfill external expectations. This leads to resentment, loss of self, and the painful realization that they lived according to inherited scripts rather than authentic purpose. When separation or divorce becomes an option, it reveals that marriage was built on transient desires rather than enduring inner values. As soon as a couple feels the need to involve a third party in their intimate issues, the relationship is already on borrowed time. True intimacy depends on two mature individuals who can work through challenges together. Growth, mutual respect, and shared problem solving strengthen the bond far more effectively than external intervention. If a couple cannot resolve their differences without involving a third party, it suggests they may not be compatible or mature enough to sustain a healthy relationship. Marriage flourishes when both partners recognize that love is liberation rather than possession, and that neither fully knows themselves or the other. A true union is harmonious because it is grounded in high, lasting values, not appearances, possessions, or fleeting desires. Modern society's fixation on external goals and surface level perception leads to dissatisfaction and endless searching, weakening the standards within oneself. Modern culture has lost intuitive inner perception, which is the deepest form of connection. Marriage must reclaim this inner dimension, rooting itself in values that transcend the physical. Only then can it become a sanctuary of growth, harmony, and lasting fulfillment rather than a trap of unmet expectations and external pursuits. Thank you for listening.